Good evening, everyone. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law of New Jersey, notice of the September 8th, 2020 meeting of the Bridgewater Raritan Regional Board of Education was provided on September 3rd, 2020 by sending a 48-hour written notice to the Courier News, Star Ledger, Bridgewater Township Clerk, Raritan Borough Clerk, and by posting on the bulletin board in the Harmon V. Wade Administration Building. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Hurley,
Here.
Mr. Joshi,
Present.
Mr. Malik,
Here.
Mrs. Mead,
Here.
Mr. Singer,
Here.
Mr. Walker,
Here.
Mrs. Lee, Mrs. Lee,
Here. Who's on mute?
Mrs. Gladstone,
Here.
Mrs. Barlow.
Here. We're now up to item 5, closed session. Whereas discussion by the board is required on matters that are exceptions to the requirement that a public body hold its meetings in public. And whereas the topics for discussion are student matters, special education settlement agreements. Whereas it is expected that the details of the discussion may be made public as soon as the issues may be acted upon publicly. Be it resolved that the board enter into closed session at this time.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All
Aye.
opposed? We're now in closed session. Good evening, everyone. We've just come back from closed session, and we are now up to item 6 on the agenda for the superintendent's report. Dr. Ficara.
Good evening. I thought we would talk a little bit about the virtual learning, which has become such a large segment of our educational program in the current space we're in and going forward in the hybrid space. And probably for many years to come, we'll be using technology in ways that we have just recently learned to use them. So today was the first day of school, as you know, and it's actually the first day of virtual school, and we will be having another first day of school on October 12th. So this year we have 2 first days of school. And from speaking to teachers and hearing from some parents and principals, we seem to have pulled it off today, and people seem to be overall pleased. We've had our hiccups, but they were all solved. We had some technology problems, but we were able to have our tech people stay ahead of them. And all in all, the day went off very, very well. Now, I thought I would ask Karen, our assistant superintendent, and Jamie, our supervisor, to give us a little bit of a presentation on just what we've done over the months since March to improve the delivery of instruction online. And I'm not sure if Karen is here by phone. It's a little ironic. Karen? No. So we'll, it's ironic that on the day we're going to talk about all we did virtual learning, Karen's internet went down. But we will have Jamie, we'll go right to you. You're muted.
Thank you, everybody. Hello. We have completed our first day of school in Bridgewater Raritan. Today marks my 25th year in education, and this year has been a year like no other in the last 25 years that I have been an educator in the state of New Jersey. At academic committee, I think it was last week, Karen asked me to come and speak to the academic committee about some of the new instructional technology tools that have been purchased by the district, that have been used in the district. So I'm here tonight, and I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of some of the new things that we're doing this year to enhance our virtual learning experience with children. So I'm going to present. Okay. All right, so new instructional tools this year. Last year, one of the things, because everything happened so quickly, last year, so many of the software companies were giving away the milk for free. So we were able to call them and say, we really like your tool. Will you be able to grant us premium access for the remainder of the year? And so many of the software companies were willing to do that, and everybody was chipping in. What wound up happening is we wound up having a great pilot. We were able to try all of these tools to see what worked for our instruction, what worked for our teachers, and what we liked. So we were able to make informed decisions after conversations with staff and surveys with staff that we had already gotten our feet wet and provided PD throughout all spring for some of these tools. Some of the fan favorites for teachers were Pear Deck. Pear Deck is a Google Slide add-on that allows you to add interactive questions and formative assessments to any Google Slide presentation. Kami is a Chrome extension, and it allows you to annotate any PDF. So students and teachers alike can write, draw, annotate, comment on any PDFs that a teacher posts. What's great about Pear Deck and Kami is they both sync seamlessly with our Google Drive and Google Classroom. Another big favorite was Screencastify. Screencastify allows you to record your screen. It allows you to take anything that's on your screen. You can give a voiceover, you can include your picture, and teachers used this a lot last year for both asynchronous and synchronous learning when they wanted to record their content for teachers. And again, another great thing with Screencastify is it syncs directly with our Google Drive and also YouTube. So this makes it really user-friendly. Once you record your screen, it goes right and syncs with your Google account. And then the last one, our last big fan favorite was Edpuzzle. What Edpuzzle does is it allows you to take any video, whether it's a teacher-created video or a pre-made video, and you drop the video into Edpuzzle, and it allows you to make it interactive for the students. So instead of the days where you just show a video and the kids just watch the video, this allows you to take your teacher-created video about any topic, and then you can stop and ask questions. So you can stop and ask the kids multiple choice questions. You can ask the children short answer questions, and it's embedded right in there for accountability and to track student progress. One of the other additions this year, and again, we got for free last year, is the Google Enterprise. This allows up to 250 participants in a meet. This allows you to live stream to 100,000 people. And this also allows you to record your meeting and automatically save it to your Google Drive. Last year, we had access to all of these premium for free. But in a district our size, we need to be able to have participants of up to 250 people and the ability to record our meets. Another great prize, another great part of the enterprise is the Google Classroom Unlimited Originality Reports. So in this syncs right into your Google Classroom. So when you post an assignment for your students, you get unlimited originality reports, which is academic integrity. Coming soon in Google Meet, a lot of times.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Can you go over the originality report? Is that so? So
the originality report. When you post it in Google Classroom, it's based, I mean, it calls it, when you go in, it says check for plagiarism. That's
okay.
Really, I mean, that's what it says in Google Classroom. It says check for plagiarism.
We used to use another program for that, didn't we?
At the high school, there's turnitin.com.
Oh, okay, that was it.
Yep, that's turnitin.com at the high school. This is district-wide unlimited originality reports.
So will this replace Turnitin, or is this another?
So we're paying for Google Enterprise. So we'll have to determine at the end of the year, based on need, what suits our needs better, and then which one we want to move forward with going forward.
Okay, thank
For
you.
years past, Turnitin has only been at the 912 level. And if that's a per student subscription, Google Enterprise is district-wide, anybody with the Google account. So we'll have to compare. So coming soon in Google Meet. So Google does do a good job of trying to keep up and listen to the teachers and what the teacher needs. Today was the first day, and one of the many questions I got today was, I can only see 16 of my students. So coming soon in Google Meet is the ability to see 49 participants. That's something that teachers want. They want to be able to see all of their students. Also coming soon in September is moderator controls, the ability to group add people, group delete people, but more importantly, turn off the chat, restrict who can present and who cannot. Also coming in September is the integration of Jamboard. Jamboard is an interactive whiteboard that's part of the Google Suite. Also, what teachers want, these are coming in November, is the breakout rooms and meeting attendance. So all the things that Google is coming out with, the teachers want. At this point, we have to show the teacher Chrome extensions as a workaround until these things are pushed out by Google. And then coming in November is hand raising and question and answer. So as soon as the district receives the upgrades, the updates, teachers receive the updates on a restart to their computer. So two big fan favorite whiteboard apps are Jamboard and Whiteboard.fi. Jamboard is part of the Google Suite. Whiteboard.fi is just a free website that I recommend to teachers. So Jamboard. Jamboard is just the whiteboard. It's part of our Google Apps. It's jamboard.google.com. It's part of our Google applications, and it allows teachers and students to have multiple jams. Up here, it has number 1 and number 2. And it allows us to use the pen, insert a sticky note, so teachers can use this as a brainstorm and have students write a note in the jam. Students can have students collaborate on one. We can write with our fingers. And what's great about Jamboard is we can have different kids in different groups. And again, this syncs right to our Google applications. So we can put this share it from our Google Drive and share it with our class. So that's Jamboard. We can put in pictures, shapes. We can erase all sorts of things. So this was introduced to teachers last spring. We continue to share it with teachers during pop-up PD. But one of the things we're looking forward to is the integration of Jamboard with Google Meet. And again, that should be coming next month.
So is this like replace a smartboard?
Well, it's on your computer screen, so it's not nearly as interactive. It's not nearly as large to write on.
Okay.
So whiteboard.fi, I recommend this to teachers because Jamboard is for kids to collaborate. So we can have multiple kids on the same jam. We can have multiple kids, a few kids on different ones within the same Jamboard. Whiteboard.fi is different in the sense in that the teacher creates a class and the students join with a class code. But what's great about whiteboard.fi is the teachers can post a problem and the students reply on their whiteboard. The students can only see their own whiteboards, but the teacher sees everybody's. So this is not a collaborative piece the way the Jamboard is. This would be used during small group when you want to see each student's individual answers. And this is called whiteboard.fi. This is free, and we've given PD and continue to share this out with teachers. So they both have different purposes depending on what the teacher intention is. So Pear Deck. Pear Deck is a Google Slides add-on. So any slideshow presentation, everybody in the district has access to the premium version of Pear Deck. And what this allows you to do, whether it's a newly created Google slideshow or it's a Google slideshow that you've already created, it allows you to embed all sorts of slides and all sorts of templates to gather student feedback throughout the course of your lesson. So as a teacher, if you had your social studies lesson on a Pear Deck, on a slideshow, and you were presenting slide by slide your lesson, and you were doing that, the kids simultaneously, whether they were at home or whether they were on a computer in your classroom, the students would join your Pear Deck, and you can stop and ask the students questions. So you can do it with just questions where you ask a question and the students write the answers. And then I really like these templates because I think they're just more visually appealing. So these are some of for my PD that we did last year, these are some of the templates that I used. So I wrote learning target. I understand how to get the Pear Deck add-on in Google Slides. And then what happens is the students have this on their computers and they just either circle or draw a check mark around the ones that you feel, the ones that apply to them. And what's great is at the end, you get the student reports. This one down here, students have Chromebooks are available for students to use or borrow. And again, everybody gets their own and they would write in true or false. You can do short answer kind of questions. What is your favorite instructional technology tool? And they can type in or handwrite in their results. Some of the other ones, do you think you would use Pear Deck in your classroom? Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you like about summer? What didn't you like about summer? So again, you're gathering feedback from students. So when we're teaching virtually, it's very different because when we're in the classroom, we're looking and our eyes are scanning and we've got eyes on our students and we can pause and check and we can walk over to their desk and use that proximity to make sure that our students are engaged. Pear Deck allows us to do that from far away. What Pear Deck Premium gives us is for every session that we run, it gives us a report of every question and every student's answer. So while I'm going through my presentation in Pear Deck, I can pull up my question and I can pull up the responses without the student names. I can also, in my teacher dashboard, I can pull up the questions and look at who answered it. But also when class is over and I need to go back, I can pull the report of every question and every answer. Another great feature of the Pear Deck Premium is you can do it whole class, or you can do it student self-paced. So I can do this during my social studies class, period 5. We're all going online at 11 o'clock and we're all going to log into the Pear Deck and we're going to do something together. But I can also assign it to the students to complete at a different time, not all at the same time as the class. So that's Pear Deck. We introduced this at Pop-Up PD last year. Pop-Up PD on the 2 days before school, giving teachers ideas of how they can use this to get to know their students and to build culture and collaboration in their classroom during the first few days of school. Okay. And then one of the last tools is Screencastify. Not only have we've been working hard to support teachers with ways to get to know their students on the first day of school, ways for teachers to build rules and expectations of a virtual learning classroom, and also giving teachers the instructional technology tools they need. But something we've been working on over the last few weeks is also providing parents with all the resources they need to support their children at home. So on the virtual learning website, on the district website under the virtual learning tab, there's a piece just for parents, and then there's video tutorials just for students. So this video tutorial is Google Meet for students and families. It's on the district website, but this is an example of what Screencastify will do. So it takes what's on your screen. My instructional technology coach, Katie Orsino, created this video. You can create your picture and have like your little picture on the bottom right. She didn't do that. But just to give you a quick overview of how Screencastify works.
The Bridgewater Raritan Regional School District has chosen to use the secure video conferencing platform Google Meet for synchronous learning. Meet provides students with the opportunity to connect with their teachers and classmates during learning activities. Google Meet is integrated with Google Classroom and will not allow students to enter the Meet without a teacher's presence. Teachers also have specific controls allowing them to block access from unwanted attendees and restrict unwanted content. They are able to mute accounts and remove disruptive members of the meeting. Teachers will be providing students with a set of expectations for their Google Meet sessions. So just how do you get onto your assigned Meet time? Open the appropriate Google Classroom according to your schedule. It's right here up at the banner under Meet Link. There may be special occasions where your teacher will use a code or a different link to a Meet. In a special event such as this, your teacher will...
I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but that's Screencastify. So teachers use this to record anything that's on their screen. It can be a PowerPoint, it can be a website, anything that's on their screen. It allows them to have a voiceover. They can put their picture. They can post it on their Google Classroom. They can post it on their YouTube channel. This was widely used again last year because of what's great about all of these tools is they help all subject areas, all classroom teachers, whatever their subject and whatever their grade, these tools are universal to help all of the teachers deliver their instruction remotely.
Dr. Picara.
Oh, glad you're back.
I am back. So seeing as I missed Jamie's introduction, I just wanted to quickly make a comment. I thought, yes, ironically, that it was my improved internet access at home that was causing the problem, but in reality, it was my computer. So I will be in touch with DLD Tech email tomorrow to get that fixed. But anyway, Jamie Kochis has, really been doing an extraordinary job of looking at all the resources that we were lucky enough to pilot for free last year when all the other districts in the state did as well. And then what we were able to do over the summer is really draw upon, what the teachers felt they needed to support them. And, that's what she now has in place, which you saw. And she also has professional development over the next month every day to make sure that the teachers are trained and able to use these resources as well. So I did want to thank Mrs. Kachas for her hard work and shifting us from the distance learning that we did last spring to what we began today on the first day of school, which is super exciting. So thank you. AJ, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. And I don't know if this can be fixed behind the scenes or not, but the kids have access to their Google Classroom, the video and all of that. And there have been cases, I don't think here in our district, but in many other districts where kids share this link to join the classroom with other people, and then random folks from across the country join in. How do we stop that? Because that has occurred many times.
So we use that. This is the reason why we use Google Meet and not Zoom. So with Google Meet, people cannot join a Google Meet without it being the teacher accepting them. So if somebody from outside the Bridgewater Raritan domain gets a Google Meet code, the teacher will be notified that says somebody from outside Bridgewater Raritan wants to join your Meet with the name of the person. One of the updates that is coming from Google in October or November is that if the same, it's actually coming in September. If you have the same person and you deny them twice, they won't be allowed, they won't even knock on your door, so to speak, anymore. Google Meet is integrated into Google Classroom. So we've encouraged all of the teachers to use the Google Meet code. Ready? This is a lot of Google. We've encouraged all the teachers to use the Google Meet code in Google Classroom. What that does, I explain it like to the teachers when you're in your classroom and you're opening your door. So you go into your Google Classroom, you click on your Google Meet code, and as the teacher, you're opening the door to your students. The students can't join that Google Meet until you've opened the door for them. Then the students from Bridgewater Raritan come in, and teachers have to remember they don't close that Google Meet, just the same way they wouldn't leave their classroom until all of the kids are out. You don't close that Google Meet until all of the students have left the Meet. And then I say to them, you shut off the lights and you shut the door, and then you close that Google Meet. And when you follow that system, nobody can access the links when the teacher's not there.
Okay, so it's just with Zoom, not with this kind of a closed circuit thing.
Yeah. And that was last spring. That's why some districts went to Zoom and some went to Meet. And that's why as a district, we chose to use Google Meet.
Got it. Okay.
Hi, Jill.
Hi, Jamie. Great job.
Thank
And
you.
kudos to everybody and you, because you're ahead of all the instructional technology. But I've seen a lot of positive feedback on Facebook posts today on the first day. And it's just really exciting to see. And also thank you for the presentation. A question about, you went through so many extensions and add-ons, but is there, and you may have said it, sorry if I missed it, but is there a way for students to be able to ask the teacher a question privately so that the whole class doesn't hear, like if they're kind of shy or they feel embarrassed? Or
so that was part of our, Anne-Marie, Maddie, and I, we worked on, in collaboration with all of the supervisors, we worked on one presentation that went to all staff on Wednesday, September 3rd, the first day back. And the focus of that presentation was building classroom communities, and it was about setting expectations and rules. So what's good etiquette when you logged into Google Classroom? But one of the things that we talked about in that presentation is how are you communicating with your students, right? So, and we talked about how when you're in the classroom, you're going to have the kid who's on the tip of his seat raising his hand, right? And in the classroom, when we left last March, you also know who you needed to go stand next to and tap their desk, and they were with you. But we also knew that we had that student who was going to sit in the back of the room and maybe chew on their sleeve and was really nervous. Mm-hmm. So we talked about how are you communicating with your students, whole class, small group, and then one-on-one, and that you need to set those procedures within within the Bridgewater Raritan domain. So we have Google Meet, you can do small groups, we have email, Google Hangouts chat. So these are all the things we talked about on the first day of school of you knew them last March. Now you don't know them. So how are you going to get in touch with the one when you need to be?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Barry.
Hey there, got a quick question.
Yes.
One thing I had is, how does Google Meet, do any of them integrate with our digital textbooks or anything we have right now and in that area? Is there a link that way? How are teachers able to bring examples in or something at some of the stuff we've gotten recently?
So are you talking about signing in or presenting?
Presenting, even using the digital test book as part of the classroom, is there a way to integrate it in or bring a problem up so kids can answer? How does, without having to redo it or take a picture of it, is there a seamless connection?
Yep. So most of our softwares, anytime in the last few years that we started buying new textbooks or new online, we sync them. We move towards, we use Clever, which is a hosting system, to sync them seamlessly, or we have our technology department use the single sign-on. So once you're in Google Meet, the teachers can just go into present mode, and they can show their screen and show their online textbooks. And then students have access by signing on using single sign-on at home for most of our softwares, not all though.
Gotcha. My other question here is that we're using the screen so much, and I'll be honest, I have 2 computers going right now. How are the teachers doing in the classroom? Guys, I gotta say, an 11 half-inch screen with 16 students. And I know we had monitors before. Are we giving them the ability to say, okay, when they're presenting, to have a larger monitor to see what's going on, or dual monitor? How are we helping enable technology in that area?
So today was day 1. And a lot of questions that came my way were questions about, I want to be able to see my kids on one side and I want to be able to present on another. And today was a very busy day. So one of the things I sent an email.
What all you guys did today, I'm sure it was just crazy. I mean,
we've got 8,200 kids online ready to learn. So one of the things that came up a lot. So I reached out to both my technology coach, and we actually are putting something like that on our PD plan for next week to be able to support teachers with ways to seamlessly either split their screen or do something to be able to see their students and their presentation on both sides.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, is there like a bigger screen? Do we still have the monitors we were turning in that can be used some way? I didn't know if we could repurpose some of our technology or anything like that too. So kind of question.
I don't know. I can ask the tech guys.
So yeah, because I know how small it is for me, and as I became more older, my eyes, my monitors got bigger as my phone gets bigger. Yeah. So even seeing everybody here, it's great resolution compared to what it used to be. But I think it'd be a nice benefit if they, in this scenario at the moment. But just a thought.
Yep. Any other questions for me? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you. Great job.
Thank you very much. That was great.
Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
You too.
You too.
I just wanted to thank Karen and her team, Jamie and Anne-Marie and the entire team. I think the proof was in the pudding today. I've been reassured since I got here that they had it under control and that they made great leaps and bounds. We talked about it frequently, but they really produced and are continuing to produce and improve. And there's a lot more professional development that's being planned for over the next month. I think Jamie said one every day. We have many in-person mandatory trainings as well as online. So we're pretty convinced that we're out in front of it this time. So I want to thank them.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ficara, and also to Ms. Kachis and Ms. Jones for the report. I also want to welcome our newest board member, Jean Lee. I know it's taken a while for her to be able to arrive here, but we are thrilled, Jean, to have you here, so welcome. And
hi, everyone.
Hi. Okay, and I just want to welcome all the students and staff back to school. I likewise am hearing a lot of very positive comments coming back that things went very well today. So that is great news to hear. A tremendous amount of time and effort has gone into improving the virtual learning experience for students and staff alike. And I think you can see evidence of that in terms of the report we just heard from Ms. Kachis. But we do know issues will arise, so it is critical we work together as one team. The students and staff are our eyes and ears into identifying and being part of the solution to resolving any challenges that we face. Communications is more important than ever. If a student or staff member has a concern, reach out to your student's teacher or principal as appropriate. You can also look to the district website and the frequently asked questions that are located there. A lot of hard work has gone into preparing and sharing the FAQs. These are more effective avenues than going to social media. So just really encourage people, to go to, your teacher, to the principal, to the website to get your information. With strong multi-way communications and a positive outlook, we can all look forward to an outstanding school year, albeit a different one. And hopefully we can move to the next step of hybrid instruction starting October 12th. Please take care of yourselves and your families and stay well. Next, we are up to the Vice President's report with Mrs. Gladstone.
Thank you, Mrs. Barlow. I'm going to resume the Vice President's report as we did a few months back. We kind of took a break for a while when we were doing superintendent search and other things. So now that we're back to school, I'm going to go back and talk about what's on the board planning calendar. We started this a couple years ago, if anybody doesn't remember. So in September, we have normally a report on board goals. If you remember, we pushed the retreat from June to September, considering the world in which we live now and getting everything started for hybrid and remote. So we have that retreat actually September 24th. That's where the board goals, superintendent goals, et cetera, will be formulated. We also had in September, we approved the comprehensive maintenance plan, which will be at the next meeting. Also approved the safety and security plan next meeting. If we have the SOA, something of assurance. I'm not sure, Mr. Starr's
Statement,
thank you, from the DOE. So the statement of assurance for the Department of Education. And we approved the self-assessment for the anti-bullying last time. Approval of the MOA with law enforcement. We have it on the calendar for September, but it's usually a little late. It's probably going to be later, like December, probably. Also, the next meeting, we have the biannual approval of the statement of assurance for the use of paraprofessionals. That's it for now. So at the next meeting, I'll review what's up for October. That's it. Any questions? Thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. Gladstone. Next, we're up to the committee reports. Academic with Mr. Malik.
we met on September 2nd at 6:30. In attendance was myself, Mr. Singer, Ms. Hurley, Ms. Jones, Dr. Ficara, Dr. Sylvia, and Ms. Kachis. First, we went over the annual policy review. The policies we reviewed were 2631, New Jersey Quality Single Accountability Continuum, QSAC, 5331 in the regulation, management of life-threatening allergies in schools. Next, we went over we had a virtual learning update. First, Ms. Koch has provided an overview of Google updates of the new instructional technology tools that are now available to staff and students. Ms. Jones and Ms. Koch explained the plan and structure for supporting staff and a plan for providing training for parents. Ms. Jones shared the timeline that the tech department has established for distributing devices and information regarding how buildings are distributing other materials and resources. Next, Dr. Sylvia gave a special education update and shared with the committee how students with disabilities will be educated during the virtual instruction. Dr. Sylvia discussed child study team operations, the delivery of related services, i.e. speech, occupational, and physical therapy, and the instruction models for the students. Dr. Sylvia informed the committee of challenges that come with teaching some students with disabilities virtually. Individual students' progress will be monitored, and if needed, supplementary or compensatory services will be provided. Next, Dr. Ficara provided an overview of the process through which staff members can apply for and be granted accommodations and/or leaves. And next, one member made a suggestion related to offering extra credit to students who eliminate spotted lanternflies, which was discussed. The spotted lanternfly is an invasive species that's currently in Somerset County and throughout New Jersey. Ms. Jones explained that part of the curriculum involves building in opportunities for students to act as citizen scientists to explore social and environmental issues. This recommendation will be shared with science supervisors, and we adjourned at 7:35. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Malik. Next, we're up to community relations with Mr. Joshi.
Yeah, our next meeting is on the 17th.
Okay, thank you. And next we have finance, facilities, and transportation, Mr. Walker.
We don't meet towards the 12th. If anybody has any questions or anything that wants to be addressed in the agenda, let Peter and I know, and we'll put it on there.
Thank you. And next, personnel with Ms. Gladstone.
Our next meeting is Thursday this week at 6:30 p.m.
Okay, thank you. And are there any liaison or delegate reports? Mr. Singer?
Yeah, I just have a quick one. I've been communicating with the Bridgewater Town Councilman liaison regarding the inclusion of information in back to school night presentations concerning the 2020 census being filled out. Bridgewater is near an 80% response rate, but the town is still hoping for 100%. Census information is confidential, and the data collected impacts community funding and congressional representation over the next decade. Additional information can be found on the Bridgewater Township website at bridgewaternj.gov. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we're up to the first opportunity for open comments from the public. Individuals and or groups are invited to present their concerns, comments, and requests to the Board of Education at this time for any matters. In accordance with board policy, members of the public are allotted this opportunity to address the board for a maximum of 5 minutes during this period of the meeting. As this meeting is being conducted remotely as a virtual meeting, all public comments can be made by completing the form online. Board members are able to see all comments and will be posted for viewing at the appropriate point in the meeting. And I should say that this open public comment section is for the action items actually specifically.
Mrs. Barlow, there are no comments for this open session.
Okay, thank you. So we will close that segment of the meeting. Next, we're up to approval of minutes for August 25th for the regular and the closed session. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Hurley,
Yeah.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes to regular session, abstain on the closed session.
Mr. Malik,
Yes.
Mrs. Mead,
Abstain.
Mr. Singer,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Lee,
You're muted, Gene.
Abstaining for both closed session and regular sessions since I was not in the meeting.
Mrs. Gladstone,
Yes.
Mrs. Barlow,
Yes, motion carries. Next, we're up to personnel 21-07. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Hurley,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Mr. Malik,
Yes.
Mrs. Mead,
Yes.
Mr. Singer,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Lee,
Abstaining.
Mrs. Gladstone,
Yes.
Mrs. Barlow.
Yes, motion carries. Next, we're up to curriculum, but there are no resolutions. Next, we are up to business 21-22 through 21-27. Is there a motion?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Hurley,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Mr. Malik,
Yes.
Mrs. Mead,
Yes.
Mr. Singer,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Lee,
Yes.
Mrs. Gladstone,
Yes.
Mrs. Barlow.
Yes, motion carries. And next we're up to special services 21-07 through 21-10.
Do I have to move it, tabling 09?
Yes.
We haven't made a motion yet. Do we need to take it off?
Correct. Just make the motion excluding 2109.
Right. All right, so I'll move that excluding 09.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion now? Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Hurley,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Mr. Malik,
Yes.
Mrs. Mead,
Yes.
Mr. Singer,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Lee,
Yes.
Mrs. Gladstone,
Yes.
Mrs. Barlow.
Yes, motion carries. And next we're up to other 21-10 and 21-11. If there's any discussion here, that we would need to do that in closed session. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
You can't.
I understand, but we would go into closed session. Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Hurley,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Mr. Malik,
Yes.
Mrs. Mead,
Yes, 10, abstain 11.
Mr. Singer,
Yes on 10, no on 11.
Mr. Walker,
Yes on both.
Mrs. Lee,
Yes on both.
Mrs. Gladstone,
Yes.
Mrs. Barlow.
Yes, motion carries. Next, we're up to policy 21-10. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Hurley,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Mr. Malik,
Yes.
Mrs. Mead,
Yes.
Mr. Singer,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Lee,
Yes.
Mrs. Gladstone,
Yes.
Mrs. Barlow.
Yes, motion carries. And we are now up to the second opportunity for public comment. So individual and or groups are invited to present their concerns, comments, and requests to the Board of Education at this time for any matters. In accordance with board policy, members of the public are allotted this opportunity to address the board for a maximum of 5 minutes during this period of the meeting. As this meeting is being conducted remotely as a virtual meeting, all public comments can be made by completing the form online. Board members are able to see all comments and will be posted for viewing at the appropriate point in the meeting. And I believe there are some comments here.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, that concludes the second open public comment section. We're now up to old business. Does anyone have any old business to discuss? Okay, seeing none, is there any new business anyone wants to bring up? Jill?
It's not really new business, but it moved quickly before when Steve was giving was talking about the census before, and that 80% of Bridgewater had completed it, and he just wants to give a reminder. So I wanted to just follow up on that. Is there any issue with or conflict of interest of any kind that would occur if the district just put out like something on the website just as a reminder of the public service announcement to be sure to complete the census? Is there anything wrong with doing that as just a public service announcement, to use our website just to say, here's the census link. If you haven't filled it out, do it.
It would always be advisable to check with the attorney on that, but I can't see why that would be a problem, considering it's not a partisan issue at all. It's simply a process, part of the federal government's attempt to find out who's here.
Right. I mean, I think it'd be great if we could get legal opinion, if that's fine. I mean, we have the website. A lot of families log on, and maybe we could get a couple people to fill it out if it's legal and ethical.
Even again, if it's legal, even to send out a note via Power School or something.
Karen, do we talk about the census as part of curriculum? Is it a way to mention bringing it into the classroom too?
I'm sure.
You know what, Barry? I would have to look into that one. It's possible. Probably, I would imagine.
I mean, and how important it really is to representation. I mean, it's a definite how everything is divided up, and then it causes voting districts to change. And Zach can tell us a lot about gerrymandering that happens in those time spaces too. So, all right, just a thought, to bring it into.
I'll check.
No worries. Thank you.
Any other new business?
I just had a question. We received a couple emails today about back to school nights and presentations that are going to be done in the next few days. My question is whether or not any of those back to school night sessions, because they're coming up really fast and the notice just got sent out today, whether or not they'll be recorded and maybe made available to parents through Google Classroom or some other means. And with regard to the parent workshops, because the times are at 1 o'clock in the afternoon over the next 3 days, whether or not there'll be any other times scheduled in the coming weeks that might be a little bit more conducive to parents who are working during the day and otherwise couldn't make those workshops. I think that the videos and the materials that are available on the virtual learning page are great, but I think that the back and forth workshop mode would be even better for parents.
So I have an inquiry into whether or not that's going to be recorded. We'll look into that, and I'll get back to you. And the whole board.
And we were planning to continue parent workshops and try them out at different times as well. So this is just our initial dabbling.
On this topic or on other topics?
We'll do this topic and then we'll do other topics. So we want to expand and continue.
Okay.
So,
all right, thank you both.
Talk about offering them at other times as well.
Yeah, my question was with regard to these particular topics. Google Classroom is particularly hard, I think, to understand at certain points. So making that available in future parent workshops in the evening or other timeframes might also be something we should look into. Thank you.
Any other new business? Okay, seeing none, just a reminder, the next board meeting is September 22nd, and again, it will be online. And we have the board retreat on September 24th. That will be online as well. And right now, we're planning to start that at 6:30. Everyone has said they were available. The only one I have not heard back from yet is Gwen Thornton, and she is on vacation, I believe, until the 14th. So we'll get final confirmation at that time, but at this point, we're planning to start at 6:30. With that, everyone have a great evening, and really want to again thank the staff and administration for a great opening day. Have a great evening.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Aye.
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 Have a good night. I think
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Bye.
I'm.
Have a good night.